Adewale Adeipo, our Group CEO here.
Good morning, everyone. And thank you for joining us this beautiful morning in Lagos. For those who have not had the privilege to shake your hand, I wanted to clearly understand that I appreciate you and I thank you for coming today. You see, for a long time, we've carried the vision and the affirmation of what we called Africa of our dream. We nurtured it, we believed it, and we worked for it. Today, we are beginning to see the emergence and the convergence as Africa is now coming together. For decades now also, the narrative has always been Africa rising, and we've heard this again and again. But oftentimes, it spoke of a distant tomorrow. Some other times also, it's with doubt and that narrow lens of challenge. But today, we gather to make a bold and a new declaration that Africa is not just a continent of tomorrow, Africa is a continent of now. But for us to clearly understand what we must do and build, we must acknowledge where we are today. We must see Africa very clearly, and that means seeing from our three faces. First will be what I call the face of challenge, or if you will, the challenges that we face. Then, of course, we have the progress that we've made and how. But more importantly for this conference will be the face of the potentials that lies effortlessly and abundantly in this continent. I welcome you all again to Techcellence 2025. Thank you for joining us at the 4th edition of our Technology and Digital Innovation Conference, where we discuss matters and topical issues that propel digital growth, enablement, and prosperity, especially in Africa. A warm welcome to our government dignitaries, captain of industries here present, visionary startup funders, generals from the Nigerian military, senior officers from the intelligence unit, and of course, to our esteemed partners and customers. I acknowledge also our virtual participants joining us from across the globe. You see, Africa stands at a critical, salient moment in its development trajectory. Today, we are positioned to transition from a continent with potentials to a global economy powerhouse. By 2040, Africa will be home to the world's largest youth population with an unparalleled capacity and capital to build innovation and growth worldwide. Our current economic indicator already signal an accelerating progress for the continent, with regional growth expected to reach a 3.5% in 2025 and further accelerate to a 4.3% in 2026 and 2027. This narrative by itself presents Africa's strategic positioning, especially if you consider the demographic dividend, the many digital transformative initiatives currently ongoing on, the recent economic integration, and of course the natural resource wealth. It's imperative at this point that while we acknowledge the persistent challenges in this continent, we must begin to pay attention to the vital leverage point for sustainable development. You will all agree with me that the continent emergence, for me, for you, for our businesses and our nations, represents not just an African success story. It is also a transformative change in global economy and political architecture, of course, with implication on international trade, on climate response, and on technological innovation. Speaking of the first phase, which is the phase of challenge, this, of course, is the Africa of headlines. It's shaped by undeniable challenges. This is the Africa where many of our nations carry high debt to GDP ratio, where a quarter of our smart young minds are unable to secure jobs, or they lack the infrastructure, the scale, or the resources to create one, where infrastructure gap has made trade 50 times more expensive. This narrative is not our truth. Of course, these troubles are the reality, but then we could do more better than this. We're getting to an Africa where we should be changing our narrative ourselves. It's a challenge that is real, but the picture is completely incomplete. It's a snapshot that misses the entire motion picture of progress. The narrative of our limitation, it's not our truth. And that's why we must embrace the Africa that we're currently building, defined by data and dynamism. We are the world's youngest continent, a demographic powerhouse. Our economic growth has consistently outpaced global average. The AFCFTA is creating a single $3.4 trillion market. We have tripled our startup ecosystem in another 2 years. The interesting thing is that we are not copying models. We are creating them. This is the Africa that is resilient, the Africa that is innovative, and the Africa that is already shaping its own destiny. Let's speak a little bit into the numbers if we can. While other continents are aging, 70% of sub-Saharan Africa is under 30. We are not only young, we're vibrant, we're agile, we're hungry. By 2030, which is just 5 years to this time, Africa's population will be 1.7 billion. The interesting thing about this is we will be adding 500 million new mobile internet users. This, by every standard you could think of, is the largest untapped digital ecosystem on the planet Earth. Having said all of this, we have some optimization to do. We are very good in planting seeds, but we need to scale bigger, better, and faster. We are one of the highest numbers of startup per capita, while we struggle to grow trees. Our unicorn story can also tell the story. Unfortunately, or fortunately for us, the reason is not lack of creativity or genius. It's clearly a fragmented market, lack of limited access to patient capital. You see, the way our challenges, our fundamentals, and variables are different in Africa, so must be our funding. And we must build for continental scale and not just local opportunities. This gap isn't abstract. It's a story of a brilliant startup in Nigeria that wishes to extend to Ghana, but can't get funding because rather than investors to see opportunity, they are clearly seeing market risks and regulatory pressure. This is our reality today. It's our seed struggling to become a forest. Then that brings me to the most important phase as I begin to close. This is the phase of potentials. The Africa we have to build together. But to build that, we must embrace the fundamental truth. Our context today is our greatest blueprint. We are not defined by the path that others have set or the pathway that they've taken for us to follow. Our journey is unique. While others build highways, we are building a seamless network of drones, largest mobile money platforms that we can ever find, solar power microgrids. We are not following a map if we go by the trajectory and the projection of what we've done in the last 10 years. We are not following any roadmap precisely. We are drawing a new course tailored to our landscape and to our potentials. And that's why we've gathered here today at Excellence 4.0. A lot of the conversation today will be on how do we unlock these potentials? How do we come together and form the Africa that will truly have the capacity to deliver? That is unlocking these potentials. I've highlighted for the purpose of this conversation and for this conference 3 pillars of growth. First, we must collaborate across borders. We must break the silos that currently exist among us today. A startup in Egypt must easily scale to South Africa. We need integrated Pan-African platforms. We need a CWG or a fifth lab that works from Lagos to Cairo, then Cape Town without necessarily changing major configuration or going through the scrutiny or the tight schedules of regulators. The second is what I call we must invest with patience. We must bet on the future. We We must bet on the vision. Also very important, we need patient capital. To our investors, we need you to be more of gardeners and not hunters. Bet on the long-term vision. The future of Africa, as we've seen with the many transformational initiatives and progress that we've seen in the last 1 decade, has been very transformational. So where we are going to also will not happen overnight. We have to water the little seeds, and we will own a share of the forest. Lastly, for me today we also require that enabling partnership and that enabling environment. Our startups must be given room to breathe. An environment where startup and innovation can thrive. To our government leaders, you will be the essential catalyst through policy formation and deliberate collaboration for us to grow our SMEs. We need policies that enables innovation and not kill innovation. Let us partner to build the digital infrastructure that is the bedrock of our future. The theme of this conference is Future Forward Africa. That means the future is not the destination we arrive at. It is obviously a direction we set today. So it is going to be set in the conversation you will be having in this hall today. It's going to be set in the many discussions that will happen when I leave this stage and when you later meet your friends and people you're seeing for the first time today. It will be the many conversations that will happen in similar halls like this happening across Africa. The partnership that you will form over coffee, the code that will be written tomorrow, and of course the investment that you commit to before you leave Lagos, or the investments that you will be interested in when next you visit Kenya. Over the next few hours, you will hear from incredible minds, and I challenge you, listen not just for the information, listen not just because we've invited you to be here today, but listen more for inspiration, listen more for collaboration. I say, ask not that what is my role in all of this, but rather concentrate on where exactly is my partner. We are the architect of the next great leap that we are looking for. We are the ones that we have been waiting for. Let's build a future that is not just forward, but truly, authentically, and brilliantly Africa. I want to thank you again for joining us at this session. I see so many faces of people that have been with us for a while, partners that we've worked with over the years. But I plead with you, let's not make this just another conference. Let's make very pragmatic steps, create relationship and collaboration, that if we gather again this time next year, we can have what I call the tangibility of this relationship and how well that has grown into something very meaningful that will give us that future forward Africa that we all believe we have a potential for in this continent. Thank you again. I will be around, and I will look forward to the many interesting conversations that I will be having collectively and one-on-one with a lot of people in here. Thank you.